I can say it here again now to repeat it. I recall when we carried out that exercise in Summerboy. One of the days I was driving and I had gotten to the Akwaje interchange. Then a call came through. I pulled over and he was like, "Hello, Elikem. This is Chairman Wontumi."
Chairman Wontumi called you?
I'm just telling you what happened. Then
Why?
he said, "This is Chairman Wontumi." He said it a second or a third time. And I kept saying, yeah. Now Elikem, I don't know. Elikem, that's how we boys madam for. I don't know. Elikem, Dabena Obenya Tana, Dabena Weba Kumasi. I have nothing doing in Kumasi at that time. I'm not going there.
What, he was trying to silence you?
I don't know, but he was reaching out to me for the first time, and I didn't even know him. I don't know what for. Then he was saying, what I put it right out there as well too. He's going to ask his lawyers to do so, and I told him point blank, your lawyers trying to do so for you will just be taking money for a job that you need to do for you. But whatever you want to do, you need to read carefully what I wrote.
Our focus and talk about illegal mining, because it's been a canker that's disturbed a lot of people, a lot of stakeholders. People have just refused to be silent about it because it's pretty much killing us, killing the ecosystem. And I've been pleasantly joined in the studios by the Deputy Chief Executive Officer for the Forestry Commission, Elikem Kotoko. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Tutua. Thanks for having me.
It's good to see you.
It feels good to be here. After you guys moved in, I have not been here before, and what a shame.
A big shame.
But here I am.
Right.
Paying a surprise visit.
Absolutely. Now, as a commission, you have a
Yes.
role to play when it comes to protecting our forest reserves.
Yes.
How difficult has it been getting these illegal miners off the forest reserves?
Yeah, thank you so much. You know, the Forestry Commission as we have it today has been set up by Act 571 of 1999, which mandates the Commission to protect, preserve, and sustainably manage the forest and the wildlife.
Okay.
And this we have been doing very nicely until...
You have?
Yes, we've been doing very nicely until about a decade ago, the scourge of galamsey became so prevalent and pervasive that there's been what I call incursions into our forest reserves to breach these forest reserves. Over 44 of them were breached, but 9 were very critical. But having assumed office, President Mahama was bent on confronting this head-on. And with his combined efforts of goodwill from the people of Ghana and the political will, he first and foremost issued a fear that there was not going to be the issuance of any new licenses in order to allow the government assess carefully what the state of damage is. And so the Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Alhaji Solimana, who heads a committee, is reviewing over 1,278 of those licenses. 55 have been revoked immediately. 316 are found to be very clean, and 907 also risk further to be revoked. Soon they will come up with that report. But apart from that also, there were 9 forest reserves that were reclaimed, the red zone. So that is a significant achievement also, taking it away from these guys. Then also the sector minister, Honorable Emmanuel Amakofi-Bua, did write a letter to the Attorney General to put in motion for Parliament's consideration the repeal of the LI 2462, which was very controversial because in November 2022, if my memory serves me right, the previous regime gave the green light for mining in our forest reserves, and they issued over 44 of such licenses. And no wonder 44 of our forest reserves were breached, because it allowed for people to engage in that activity. But President Mahama says no more of such. Apart from the no issuance of licenses and the red zones being reclaimed and the LI 2462 to be revoked, that will be on the 14th of October when Parliament resumes. The minister has again declared all water bodies and forest reserves to be security zones. And what it means is that there will be military, police, security personnel stationed there permanently, especially at the sources and along where we believe these activities go on, to deter, stop, halt, discourage and arrest people who embark on this kind of degradation. Because remember, there's a saying that when the last tree dies, the last man dies. And there's a saying also that water is life. So these two things are of national security interest, and so declaring them as security zones are just right and in order. And aside that, also in the past, excavators used to pass through our ports without any registration and all of that. President Mahama says now all must be registered. It must be trackers placed on them, and it will be geofenced as well. This is to make sure we know where each excavator is going and who is behind an excavator.
Right.
Then also is the introduction of NIMOS, the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, headed by one fine gentleman by name Colonel Dominic Boa, and he is doing very serious work that you don't want to cross paths with him, because like I said earlier ago, he'll give you a VIP treatment if found to be culpable, engaged in any of these illegal activities. President Mahama and the government is not against illegal mining. It's not against mining, but he strongly frowned on illegal mining, reckless and irresponsible mining, particularly in our water bodies and forest reserves. And so there's also the formation of the Responsible Cooperative Mining and Skills Development Program, headed by one engineer, Pedro.
The one that was recently launched.
That was what was launched, and where we launched our 8 gallant men. And this is to make sure we bring these people together to embark on cooperative mining. One will say that, hey, do you think it's that easy? And to give somebody an alternative skills other than mining, he's making 1,000 cedis a day, 2,000. You want to give him a job that will give him 2,000 a whole month. We need to embark on a lot of education. Strong advocacy will make people know that their activities are impacting the environment negatively, and that cycle continues. It affects us all. The government, the budget on health, etc., continues to rise. Birth defects, amongst other things. So there's a need for us to look at it holistically. Our traditional authorities play a key role, and the minister and himself and has engaged our traditional authorities to an extent. He has now clothed the NIMOS with the power to reach the authorities and make them know if they are still prevalent activities of illegal mining at places.
That's a very interesting point you raised there about the traditional authorities, because
they
very
know virtually
often they have been found to be complicit when it comes to illegal mining. I've actually seen a video from the Ashanti region. Unfortunately, I don't have that. We can't even put it out, where the chief openly says that his people will not stop the illegal mining activity because that is what brings food to their table. So what has been the engagement with the traditional authorities?
So that engagement has been done by the minister. The next phase is that NIMOS is moving in there, and when NIMOS moves in there, it's not political. These are military with strict instructions on what to do. When they come in, you are a chief and you will not comply by, or abide by this strict adherence to discipline, you'll be given a VIP treatment. And I repeat it, you'll be given a VIP treatment, and you understand what that VIP treatment is, because nobody will be allowed or tolerated to perpetuate any such mayhem or damage to our environment, and in the name of an enterprise that benefits just a few or an individual. That will not be tolerated. Yes, to the extent that some of even the chiefs are being installed by these galamseyers. So it tells you the kind of power they wield and the control they are able to have.
It's a big cartel.
It's a whole cartel, just like the drug cartel we know in other places as well.
Of course.
This is one major one we need to confront.
Now, despite all of these things you say the government has put in place to curb the menace, we still see machines in our forests day in, day out.
Yeah.
It's as if there's no authority, but I know for a fact, for somebody who travels frequently across the country, I've seen a lot of Forestry Commission officers along the stretch. How do these people find your way into the forest?
Those things you see across the stretch are largely checkpoints. And these checkpoints are for illegal logging. So solely for illegal logging. So TIDD and FSD, that's Forestry Service Division, headed by
it's
Dr.
solely for illegal logging.
Yeah, it's for that. I mean, you can't be at a checkpoint, see an excavator, and stop him to want to know. Those ones lie in the
probably blow an alarm.
You can be on the alert upon seeing that, anyways. But what is happening is that indeed we're not saying that we have immediately stopped galamsey, but the efforts put in place in these past 7, 8 months and 9 months is significant to tell that the president is committed. He's not ready to say things just to mere semantics and say, oh, I am prepared to put my presidency on the line. He won't even dare to say that.
Elikem,
but he will be.
Just how significant are they? Because you realize that we've had reports from the Ghana Water Limited to say that
about the turbidity that has gone high.
Has gone really, really high. It's actually a very disturbing development.
tell you the truth, the extent of damage done will not cause just a day to solve, and it is not to even see improvement will not be just a week or 2 or 3 or a month or 2. It will take time, and the level of heavy metals that we are talking of that are contained in these water bodies will take a lot of dechemicalization that has become a word that we are all using,
trending,
and all of that. But you see, what we are doing differently is that this time round, when NIMOS, which comprises the military, the navy, the Air Force, the Ghana Armed Forces, the immigration, because there are foreigners involved, the police service to effect arrests, NACOC in order to trace drug-related offenses, because some of these people are into drugs,
right?
And then the National Signals Bureau or the National Security and all of that. The NEMOS is going to be stationing these men at those places, especially that they've been declared security zones, permanently, but on rotational basis, so they don't get familiarized with that. I can tell you one funny thing, for instance, that I'm told that some of the galamseys are also recruiting very beautiful damsels that they are also training to find a way to see how they can compromise our men and women. But these will not be.
Are these parts of the water guard? I saw a story that
the
was
water guards are the blue water guards.
The blue water guard, that some of the illegal miners are impregnating the ladies in the blue water
I
guard.
think I heard that. I don't know if it's a joke though, but I heard that. But well, it also just tells you how sophisticated, using that word softly though, they also are. They also deploy every means and every available possible. And you see, let's tell the truth. When it comes to money, the temptations are always there, but the discipline is what is key. And so training our men, it's going to be such coordinated. That is why this time around we're not going to be allowing different task forces, people forming their own task force in claiming to be fighting galamsey, rather going to compromise the mission, amongst other things.
That's the reason the IGP's men were withdrawn. For 9 months,
not because they were compromised, but it is just to make sure there's a coordinated effort, because the police service people, the men from the police are also involved in the NIMOS,
right?
So that it is well coordinated. And there's only one number to reach out to them so far, and that is 024 0700 487.
What, 024 0700
487. And so even if you're a DCE, if you're an MCE, you are a party in power person, and you have any tip of, reach out to this number, update NIMOS, and they are better clothed and well empowered and resourced to be able to go in there, because these guys are using sophisticated weapons. The recent gang of 9 that were arrested in the Futu Forest Reserves after the cleaning, they went back in there. They were holding pistols and pump action rifles. You'll be holding a hunting gun. How will you be able to confront them? And so there's a need for us to also see the severity of these and fighting it head on. And I am convinced, however, from where I sit or where I stand, that President Mahama is the most committed to these, not only by enforcement, by political will, but taking the needed steps. And let us also address the elephant in the room. Some are calling for what? State of emergency. Is it really needed? The very CSOs who came to the meeting, the table with President Mahama, have now come out to say, okay, having seen what you have rolled out as steps being taken, we also now agree that there's no need for a state of emergency. But can you? But
you cannot blame them entirely.
No, you can't. No, I'm not blaming them.
In opposition, we had the land minister,
and it is because at the time, for instance, they were still issuing licenses.
Okay,
there were red zones. There were 9 forest reserves that were captured by these criminals. The LI 2462 was live and well. The places were not declared security zone. We had Operation Galam Stop, Operation Halt, Operation These, and they were all doing all manner of things and not coordinated. And then we heard of names. I mean, Professor Frimpong Boaten's report, Anas Iremeyer's expose, the gold mafia, Charles Bisio and the likes who were mentioned and all of that. So it was very pervasive at the time, but these conditions have changed. We are no more issuing licenses. 9 forest red zones have been repossessed. The LI 2462 is going to be repealed by when Parliament sits. Then the security zone declaration of the forest reserves and the water bodies. NIMOS is going to be the singular task force to coordinate all these efforts. Men will be deployed not to only go and fight, but when they fight, they will build base over there, station there permanently and on rotational basis, which is to deter, halt, discourage, and arrest any persons who find themselves in that enclave. The media battle also continues unabated, and you are doing very well. The CSOs who met the president also made it clear that we should do more to update the publics on what efforts are being put out.
Right.
So the minister has also tasked that we put up some kind of mechanism to do so. In subsequent days, from next week, 2 or 3 maximum, there will be regular update that will be done to make sure every Ghanaian knows what is taken on. I agree with those who also say that we should be regularly monitoring our water turbidity level to be updated, so we know what the results are. Education is very, very key, which is something we cannot downgrade because advocacy plays a greater role. There used to be the past where we have wildlife clubs and all of that. Maybe today we can be having forest clubs, etc., that are environmental related clubs that are more related,
to intensify
the education. So there will be poetry recitals, quiz competitions, debates, and all of that. So we need to box all the measures, short, medium, and long-term approaches. And so it means that we even need to collaborate with the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service to do all of that. We need to engage the YEA to see how they can also help us to recruit more people to guard our forests when NIMOS eventually would have to retreat after a while. There must be a fallout on a fallen
so NIMOS's presence is not permanent?
No, it is permanent, but I mean that they will not be there forever and ever. It could be that they will be there for the next 3 years to make sure we find these. But what if this government leaves office? Maybe in the next 12 years, the next 20 years. There must be next 4 years. There must be a protocol to put in place to make sure that. And that is why I keep saying this everywhere I go. When you go to our neighboring countries, their forestry commissions are made of 100% military. And so everybody feels military because the forest controls water and the trees as well. And these two things matter to us, as we say, when the last tree dies, the last man dies. When water is also life. So we must be having a military. I'll be the number one person to say okay to Mr. President when he says Elikem and your folks, please, I'll need your services, but no longer at Forestry Commission. I want to make it fully militarized. I'll be okay for that.
Interesting.
Yes.
My attention has just been drawn to something interesting you said. You say that Galamsey kingpins bind recruits with blood oaths to keep them silent.
Yes, people. There's a whole myth around Galamsey that it's spiritual. It grows over time. There are sacrifices to be made and all that. So they make these people sign on with some blood covenants and other forms of covenants and all that you don't disclose this, you don't do this, you don't do that. So we are using technology to even trace some of that. It's also another major hurdle we are facing. But we are trying. I can say this publicly. It is just to not deter them, but to hold them if they can. Because we are tracking some of them. That is why some of them may think that I'm still doing it and they are not doing anything. We are monitoring you. We want to know who the actual kingpins are. And I am convinced that one of the kingpins that is being prosecuted now is none other than the regional Ashanti regional chairman of the NPP.
Those are allegations.
I know, but I mean, I work at the Forestry Commission. I recall I visited Summer Boy and a concession given to him, and we are all aware that he didn't get all the needed permits. That is evident and is there. At the time, even the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources came to confirm same, to corroborate same. Then the President came out to say that he is aware that Akonta mining is not engaged in any illegality. That was how he was prepared to put his presidency on the line, and very laughable though. But we all saw videos of Wontumi, for instance, displaying gold at the radio stations, bars of gold taken out from his bar. Are you okay with one? He brings out a second one. He brings out a third one. He brings out a fourth one. And we all know what happened at the Tiwa forest and all of that. But we leave it all to the law now, since the process has been kicked in motion. And one major kingpin like that has a lot of tributaries.
You still call him a major kingpin?
Yes, I am. That is
when you don't have the full fact.
That was the same allegation at the time he was arrested, and it still stands until proven otherwise.